Divine revelation. The miraculous quantum field prophesied to transform your supernatural journey. The ancient chapel of Winton whispered secrets from centuries past, wrapping the village in a shroud of divine echoes. Samuel, a devoted churchgoer with a heart full of faith, found solace within its stained-glass embrace. He was known for his impassioned prayers, invoking hope in the hearts of many. Yet, dark clouds loomed over his life when his 8-year-old daughter Lily was struck by a rare illness. The doctors were grim, leaving him clutching at straws, desperate for a miracle. Every twilight, as the sun melted into the horizon, the community gathered at the chapel. Samuel stood at the front, his knees trembling as he knelt in fervent prayer. Each evening prayer felt like a grappling match, his heart torn between hope and despair. The flickering candlelight bathed the room in a warm glow, yet Samuel's spirit wavered like the dancing flame. His beloved Lily was suffering, and the whispers of doubt echoed in his mind. Then, on one particular night, a surreal brilliance engulfed the chapel. As Samuel poured out his heart, a radiant figure emerged, shimmering with divine light. The presence felt electric, as if the air itself vibrated with unearthly energy. In awe, he absorbed the figure's words about a miraculous quantum field, a bridge between the earthly realm and something beyond, something transcendent. Samuel's faith clashed with disbelief in this mystical phenomenon, leaving him in a fervent internal struggle. He was pulled between the shadows of doubt and the luminosity of divine possibility. As days turned into weeks, the weight of Samuel's despair deepened. He filled his time with doctor visits, clinical trials, and endless research. The village rallied around him, but with each setback, their prayers felt like echoes in an empty cavern. Then came the moment of reckoning. Samuel knew he could not fight this battle alone. The love for Lily and the collective strength of their community became ignited. What if their faith combined could live up to the promises of the celestial vision? He called for an all-night prayer vigil at the chapel, summoning everyone from Winton. As they gathered, hope hung in the air, so palpable that even the stones of the ancient chapel felt alive with anticipation. Faces were drawn, but eyes sparkled with determination. As the night unfolded, cries of faith soared, forming a chorus that reached toward the heavens, desperate for divine intervention. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As dawn lurked just beyond the horizon, whispers grew thicker with fervent cries. Then, in the sacred light of early morning, something miraculous stirred. The veil between the divine and earthly began to dissolve. Samuel felt a rush of warmth, spreading from his heart to his fingertips, a sensation both familiar and strange. Gasps filled the air as shimmering lights flickered around them, weaving through their prayers like threads of gold. In that moment, expectant silence enveloped the chapel. All eyes were fixed on the altar where Lily lay, peacefully breathing. What would this miracle bring? As hope ignited, Samuel stood frozen, caught between the threads of fear and faith. What did this revelation mean for his family, for their understanding of the divine? Sweet hope intertwined with uncertainty, as every breath ushered them toward a transformative conclusion, leaving them poised on the brink of the supernatural. As the first rays of dawn bathed the chapel in a golden glow, time stood still for Samuel and the gathered congregation. They felt it, the shift in the air, the palpable thrum of energy that coursed through the very stones around them. Whispers of awe danced on the lips of the villagers, entwined with prayers of reverence. Samuel's heart raced as he approached the altar. The sight of Lily, her frail form surrounded by flickering candles, ignited a longing so fierce it nearly overwhelmed him. No longer just a father lost in despair, he was a vessel of hope, a conduit for the fervent prayers of those who loved his daughter. Lord, he breathed, his voice shaking, if you can hear us, Show us your will. Illuminate our path. As if in response, the shimmer of light surrounding Lily intensified. It became a radiance that filled the room, weaving through the prayers like silken threads, connecting every whisper and every heart. Samuel gasped, his spirit soaring as he witnessed the manifestation of something extraordinary. "Do you see that?" Someone murmured from the back row. Eyes widened, hearts raced. It was more than light, it was a divine tapestry unfurling before them, stitching together their prayers into a single, powerful cry. Lily stirred slightly, and gasps filled the air. Samuel felt a surge of hope. Was this the moment they had prayed for? He knelt closer, overwhelmed with emotion. "Stay with me, Lily," he urged, tears streaming down his cheeks. "Please come back to us." In that sacred silence, the chapel felt alive with energy. Every flickering candle seemed to pulse with desires for healing, love, and connection. Each villager held their breath, caught in the sacred union of faith, waiting for a glimpse of divine action. Suddenly, a voice, soft yet commanding, resonated through the chapel. "Your faith has unlocked the door to the miraculous." Samuel's heart raced as the words lingered like echoes across the sacred space. Trust in the unseen. The divine quantum field is at work. The villagers exchanged glances, absorbing the weight of the promise spoken. Samuel felt a mix of reverence and wonder, tinged with a hint of doubt. What did it mean to trust in something not seen? As the light danced around them, threads of hope wrapped tighter around their hearts and minds. Samuel realized this wasn't merely a battle for Lily's life. It was a call to awaken within themselves a deeper faith, a more profound connection to the divine. With each heartbeat, Samuel whispered the words, "I believe. I believe in miracles. I believe in healing." The congregation followed, a powerful chorus of voices rising in unison. "We believe." The light swirled, and for a moment, eternity paused. Samuel felt the warmth spread through his veins, as if angels were descending to weave their magic through the gathered prayer. Yet, even in that transformative moment, questions pulled at the corners of his soul. How would faith shape their destinies? Would the divine intervene in the ways he hoped, or was there a deeper revelation waiting to unfold? Just then, a soft breeze swept through the chapel, brushing against their faces like a caress, a reminder of the unseen presence surrounding them. As Samuel looked at Lily, a flicker of consciousness passed across her delicate features. A tear escaped her eye, glistening like a testimony of hope. They were standing at the threshold of the miraculous, but what came next? The sense of divine mystery lingered thick in the air, leaving the congregation on the edge of anticipation. Samuel held his breath, the weight of potential resting in his heart. What new revelations awaited them as the light of day broke fully? Would they witness the miraculous transformation they dared to dream of? Or was there an even greater journey unfolding just beyond the horizon? The atmosphere crackled with expectation, as if the very walls of the chapel bore witness to their fervent faith. Samuel's heart thudded in rhythm with the pulsing glow that enveloped Lily, a haunting melody of hope that rose and fell like the tides. He could almost taste the prayers on his lips, as if each one was a note teetering on the brink of a divine crescendo. "Is it happening?" A voice broke the spell, laden with curiosity and wonder. It belonged to Martha, an older woman from the village whose love for Lily was evident in every furrow of her brow. "Can we truly believe we might see a miracle today?" Samuel turned to meet her gaze, his heart echoing with the sincerity of her questions. "I believe. We must believe," he replied, the words barely escaping his lips, wrapped in the breath of all who stood beside him. As if stirred by their collective faith, the shimmer around Lily seemed to pulse more vehemently, a living wave weaving through the congregation. The light illuminated faces, each one reflecting a story woven with threads of pain and triumph, doubt and faith. A gentle murmur swelled, filled with the unity of their hopes. Then, a profound stillness enveloped the room. It was the kind of silence that drew everyone inward, as if urging them to confront their deepest fears and desires. Each person seemed lost in their thoughts, grappling with the weight of what they had come to witness. What could this new dawn bring? "Look!" shouted a young boy from the crowd, his eyes wide as he pointed toward the altar. All heads turned in unison. The light around Lily seemed to vibrate, not just shimmering but coiling and uncoiling like a living thing, preparing to take flight. Samuel stood, transfixed. "Breathe, everyone," he urged gently. "Let your faith guide you." As they inhaled deeply, surrendering to the moment, a warmth spread throughout the chapel, a palpable energy that radiated not just within but around them, creating a sacred circle. Samuel closed his eyes, envisioning the tapestry of prayers merging, each thread rich with love, healing, and intercession. In that moment, every heartbeat was a prayer, a resonance of belief echoing off the steep chapel walls. Suddenly, from within the radiant cocoon, a sound emerged. It was a soft, melodic whisper, like the rustling of leaves on a gentle breeze. Samuel opened his eyes in awe. It seemed to speak not just to him but through him, weaving its way into the hearts of everyone present. "Fear not, my children," it sang, a voice sweet and serene, drifting on the air. "For you are seen and your faith is your light." Samuel felt the warmth turn to a fire within, igniting an inexplicable peace that washed over him. The voices surrounding him swelled, each individual feeling the embrace of divine reassurance. Tears flowed freely as they surrendered to the truth of those words, their hearts binding tighter in shared faith. But with the swell of certainty came another whisper, one of uncertainty. What if this moment was simply a glimpse of hope? What if their longing faced a different reality? Just as those thoughts clouded his heart, a tremor rippled through Lily's body. Samuel's pulse quickened. Had she heard? In that fleeting second, hope and fear danced dangerously close. All eyes were fixed on the altar, a collective breath held in anticipation of what was to unfold. And then, as if pulled through that shimmering veil, a figure emerged beside Lily, a figure cloaked in light, ethereal and radiant. What is this?" someone gasped, breaking the sacred silence once more. In that instant, the villagers found themselves standing on the edge of the unknown, caught between the miraculous and the ordinary. Was this their moment of divine intervention, or merely the beginning of something far greater? What revelations lay ahead as they ventured deeper into the mystery unfolding before them? The figure shone like the morning sun, casting an aura that enveloped Lily in a luminescent embrace. Fear melted into quiet awe as the villagers leaned closer, seeking to glimpse the divine presence gracing their gathering. Samuel felt his heart quicken with each pulse of brilliance radiating from the figure, as if a part of his soul recognized something profound. "Do not be afraid," the figure spoke, the voice like gentle waves caressing the shore. "I come to guide you through this transformative moment. Your faith has summoned me, and I am here to share a revelation that shall echo through time." Each word felt like a drop of rain on thirsty ground, nourishing their hopes and dreams. Samuel could see it in the eyes of his neighbors, wonder mingled with a trembling anticipation. The air thickened with an electric energy, weaving its way around them, a reminder of the sacred promises held in their hearts. "Lily," the figure continued, turning towards the young girl still glowing with warmth, "you have been chosen as a beacon, a vessel of healing. Your journey will inspire many to seek the light and embrace their own truth." As the figure spoke, an ethereal light enveloped Lily tighter, a cocoon of golden hues wrapped around her frail frame. Tears effortlessly flowed down Samuel's cheeks as he witnessed the divine shaping of destiny before him. Could Lily truly be the promise they all yearned for? The hope his village needed? Martha gasped, her weathered hands clasped tightly together. "Lord, grant her the strength, grant us all the strength." Her plea rang out, resonating with the chorus of hearts swelling with faith. The figure's eyes sparkled with benevolence, seeming to recognize the shared cries of the congregation. Every prayer, every moment of vessel faith, has drawn forth this encounter. Remember, your faith is a bridge leading to divine possibilities. But to attain this, you must also walk with humility and love. Samuel believed he was witnessing something rare, a glimpse of heaven opening and inviting them to partake. Struggles held in silence, fears borne alone, all begun to unravel in the light of the truth illuminated by the figure. All of them craved divine connection, yet it required a heart open to receive. Leave behind the wounds of the past, the figure instructed, a wave of compassion washing over the crowd. Trust that healing follows surrender, and take this moment to step into your purpose. The light that guides you will bring about a transformation, both in you and in those who witness. Lily nodded, her eyes reflecting the glowing essence surrounding her. A smile painted with innocence graced her lips, and in that moment, she became more than just a girl. She embodied hope itself. Yet amid rising hopes, doubts surfaced. What if the healing did not come? What if the doubts crept back in? Samuel breathed deeply, grounding himself in the swirling light. What shall we do? He found himself voicing the question that echoed in their hearts. How do we nurture this gift you've presented? Be steadfast in prayer. Love one another. Share your light freely, the figure said, turning its gaze to encompass them all. As you step into this journey, know that every act of kindness strengthens the fabric of your faith and community. Then, just as suddenly as the figure appeared, the light began to recede, drawing back into the sacred altar. With a final radiant smile, it whispered to them, "Your miracle has begun, but the journey is yours to shape." As the chapel dimmed, Samuel's heart raced. What awaited them in this new chapter of faith? As uncertainty mingled with the divine promise, a single phrase escaped his lips, but what God had not yet revealed. With every pulse of doubt, every flicker of hope, the villagers stood poised on the threshold of something greater. Would they embrace it, or was this mystery just beginning to unfold? The soothing silence that followed held a promise, a delicate hint of what was yet to come. Samuel looked around, noticing the village faces illuminated with wonder, their eyes shimmering with the remnants of the figure's radiance. Could their ordinary lives be transformed by such an extraordinary encounter? The sun began its descent, casting long shadows that whispered of both faith and doubt. Lily, still encased in that ethereal light, slowly turned towards the villagers. "Will you walk with me?" Her voice, soft yet firm, resonated in the hearts of those gathered. It felt as if she beckoned them not just to join her on a journey, but to embrace a larger purpose that lay before them. Gathered around her, the villagers took a moment, sharing glances that held hesitation and hope in equal measure. Samuel stepped forward, urged by an unseen force. "Yes, Lily, we'll walk together. We can lean on each other, can't we?" The echo of his words spun through the air like a melodious prayer, inviting murmurs of agreement. "We will not shy away from the light," Martha exclaimed, her spirit reignited. The confirmation sparked a ripple of energy among the crowd, feeding the very essence of their collective faith. As twilight fell, the chapel exuded warmth and tranquility. The villagers formed a circle around Lily, hands joined, hearts intertwined. A melody of fervent prayers rose, each one a thread woven into a tapestry of hope. They were a community, a family bound by beliefs and dreams. "Let go of our fears," Samuel whispered softly. "Let us step into the unknown." He felt a surge of strength coursing through him, the very air vibrating with possibilities. Then, in the stillness, something began to shift within the gathered souls. Light danced playfully around them, as if it took delight in their unity. The shadows of doubt began lifting, unveiling what lay beyond. Samuel's heart soared, and tears of joy welled up again. He felt goddess grace weaving through them, binding every heart with threads of love. But before the joyous rush could consume them, a thought flickered, an urgent reminder that still loomed. What if the journey challenged them? What if their faith was put to the test? Those questions nestled like shadows, yet still, they held on fiercely. "Remember," Lily said, her gentle voice calming the fretful winds of uncertainty. "It is not just about receiving a gift but about nurturing it. We must cultivate the light within us." She emphasized the act of sharing, of uplifting each other, as the ultimate expression of faith. Encouraged, Samuel felt a gentle pull within his spirit. "We'll nurture this gift together, one Tiwi, by loving, by serving, by living out our faith daily. The villagers nodded, and it felt as if the chapel itself rumbled in agreement, a collective heartbeat resonating within. Time slowed, and the air thickened, alive with anticipation. What if our small acts can ripple out, transform lives beyond our own? Martha pondered aloud, her voice wavering with a hint of awe. Every soft whisper of kindness carries the grace of God, Samuel affirmed, the certainty unfurling in his heart. Let our journey be one of empowerment and love. The words settled now like soft petals in the evening breeze. They knew that not all would be easy, as with all transformations. Pain might lurk too. Yet, they stood united, emboldened by a newfound commitment to become what they envisioned. As the evening deepened, a sparkle caught Samuel's eye, the last glimmer of twilight merging with the first stars appearing in the sky. Together, they sensed it, that glimpse of divine promise pulling them forward. And as hope swelled within, Samuel wondered, could they hold tightly to this belief through the trials ahead? The journey was just beginning, but what awaited them on the path of divine revelation? The stars twinkled brightly above, as if urging them to step into the unfolding mystery. What would they discover about themselves? And about the nature of faith itself? The air seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of divine anticipation, awakening the villagers from their reverie. With hands still clasped, their eyes turned to Lily, who stood at the center of their circle like the first light of dawn. She radiated a peace that calmed even the most restless souls. Tonight, we begin a journey like no other, she declared, her voice clear, cutting through the lingering hesitations. But every journey requires faith that every step, even the hardest ones, leads us to greater understanding. Samuel felt his spirit surge, as if a river of clarity poured through him. What if we wrote our own story? He ventured, courage lifting his words like kites in a spring breeze. What if our struggles are simply pages being turned in a beautiful tale? Around him, the villagers nodded, sensing the weight of his idea. It was a fresh breath amidst stale air. A tale written by God, Martha added, her voice shimmering with hope. A shared vision electrified the circle, drawing energy from their unity. Lily smiled, her expression a soft beacon. Exactly. Each of you has the ink of faith, ready to script the chapters ahead. Let not your worries become obstacles, but rather stepping stones to the joys that await. As her words settled, a question bubbled to the surface of Samuel's thoughts. But what if we stumble? What if the darkness feels overwhelming? Anxiety trickled in, trying to drown the hope that had surged moments before. The darkness is merely the absence of light. Lily's response was gentle, but the depth in her voice anchored him. It's what we bring, the light we choose to nurture, that pushes back the shadows. The villagers exchanged tentative glances, sensing the weight of her assertion. Samuel took a breath, envisioning the light within each of them flickering brightly, like stars against a vast night sky. Together we'll shine, he declared, feeling momentum building. An infectious energy pulsed through the crowd. One by one, each villager began to share their fears, their shadows. They spoke of personal battles, of scars that felt too deep to heal. Yet with every confession, the circle transformed the burden into a bond. Their struggles found strength in community. Every tear you shed is a seed of faith, Lily reminded them. As you walk forward, let them germinate into compassion and understanding. Share those stories, for they hold power. Emboldened, Samuel called out, let us show our village that hope is a living thing. We will reach out. We'll lift each other when shadows loom. The collective breath of the villagers seemed to unite, their hearts quickening with purpose. For the first time, they could almost hear the rustle of divine whispers around them, as expectations were brushed aside and the essence of their mission became clear. With the night deepening, Lily led them in a simple prayer. They lifted their joined hands as if carrying their hopes to the heavens. Samuel's heart bubbled with sensations, a warmth like sunlight breaking through clouds, an insistence that they were not alone. As the prayer lingered in the air, filled with their desires and dreams, a soft glow surrounded them anew. Samuel could feel the warmth of its embrace. An understanding dawned even amidst trials. They were on sacred ground. With heads bowed, an unspoken dialogue passed between them and the divine. Just as Samuel raised his gaze toward the heavens, the stars seemed to shimmer in response, playful and knowing. "We will go together," he murmured, his heart resolute. One step at a time through light and shadows. And just then, a flicker of light shot across the sky, and Samuel's heart raced. What was this omen? What awaited them beyond their small village? The stars twinkled as if echoing his thoughts, and with it came an exhilarating question. What revelations waited around the next bend on their journey of faith? As the flicker of light faded, a silence enveloped the villagers, a silence that hung thick with expectancy. Each heart beat in rhythm, echoing Samuel's own wonder. He gazed up at the stars, each one a promise, each one a reminder that they were not alone on this path they chose to tread together. "Did you see that?" Samuel whispered, his voice barely breaking the hush. Martha nodded, her eyes wide. That was not just a star, was it? "No," Lily responded, her voice soft yet firm. "It was a sign, a reminder that divine light guides our steps. Have faith, dear ones. Something beautiful stirs." The villagers felt a swell of hope rise within them, an energy that swept through the circle like the wind before a storm. Each person, once burdened by shadows of doubt and fear, now felt a flicker of possibility ignite in their hearts. "Tonight is not just the beginning of our journey," Lily continued, looking around the circle, locking eyes with each villager. "It is a call to act, to step boldly into the unknown. You have the power to change your own stories." Samuel could sense the excitement bubbling over. "So let us share what that means," he exclaimed. "What do we want to see? What do we long for in this new beginning?" One by one, voices rang out, weaving a tapestry of dreams and desires that filled the air. "I want peace in my heart, a lightness, like a breath of fresh air," Martha said, her eyes shining. "I long for healing for myself and for others," said John, his voice steady but fraught with emotion. "I wish to reflect Goddess grace, no matter the storm we face," added old Helen, her hands trembling as she spoke, as if she were sharing a precious secret. Each wish echoed with strength, resonating like chimes in the gentle night breeze. The air throbbed with aspirations, visible and vibrant, pulling them closer together. Samuel felt pulled into a sweet harmony, a divine connection that transcended their fears. "Let us pray for these desires, for the light to shine upon them," suggested Lily, raising her hands once more. All followed her lead, raising their hands high, as if inviting the very heavens to join their circle. "What we seek is already seeking us," she whispered, closing her eyes. The villagers joined in, their voices weaving an earnest supplication to the skies. They prayed not only for what they wanted, but to become instruments of hope for others, to bring illumination into the darkest corners of their lives. As their voices rose, a light broke through the clouds, pouring forth like liquid gold. It was gentle yet illuminating, wrapping around them in a warm embrace. In that moment, everything felt possible. Samuel's heart raced with a wild joy, tears of wonder filling his eyes. He realized then that faith was not mere belief, it was action, a dance with the divine. "This is where it begins," he thought, feeling a pulse of excitement. But what lies beyond this moment? As the crowd lowered their hands and opened their eyes, they were met with a sight that stole their breath away. Shadows flickered just beyond the edge of the clearing, moving as if guided by unseen forces. "What is that?" a voice gasped. Samuel's heart pounded in his chest. They were on the edge of an adventure, one wrapped in mystery and divine purpose. What awaited them in the shadows? What mysteries would unfurl as they stepped closer to the light? A wave of gasps rippled through the villagers as the shadows intertwined and danced, shifting slowly, swirling like smoke caught in a gentle breeze. Samuel squinted into the darkness, his spirit both trembling and curious. What moved there? Was it friend or foe, a messenger from God, or a test of their newfound faith? "Stay close," Lily instructed, her voice firm yet comforting. She moved steadily forward, her heart guiding her feet like a compass aligned with purpose. The villagers trailed behind her, an ever-tightening pack woven together by hope and anxiety. As they approached the flickering shadows, the air thickened, heavy with anticipation. Samuel could feel the intense energy vibrating from the ground beneath them, and he looked around at his friends. Each face radiated a blend of fear and fascination, their breaths mixing in the charged silence. "Lily, what do you think it is?" Martha murmured, her voice trembling. The gentle wind swirled around them, carrying the soft whispers of their unspoken fears. "I believe it's a sign. Just as the light above heralded our new journey, so too does this presence remind us we are not alone," she replied, her eyes gleaming with conviction. Samuel felt a surge of courage at her words. He stepped forward, his heart a drum echoing through his chest. Suddenly, a shape emerged from the shadows, illuminated by the golden light now softly cascading upon the figures. It was unmistakably a figure of grace, glowing softly. "Be not afraid," the figure spoke, voice harmonious and soothing. "For I am a messenger of hope. You have sought the light, and now it is here. What you desire is tangled in the threads of love and faith, and together, you will stitch a new reality for your village." "Who are you?" Samuel found himself asking, voice barely escaping his lips. "I am what you need me to be, a beacon of the divine presence within and among you. Every wish shared tonight has the power to awaken transformation. Trust in this light," the figure replied, extending an arm, inviting them closer. A ripple of energy surged through Samuel. He felt it stir his very being, a divine current igniting within. The questions that had long lived in his heart began to form clarity. What if the changes he and the villagers sought were not just about their personal desires? What if they could reach further, touching lives outside their circle? "Will you guide us?" John asked, stepping forward, filled with resolve. "Yes," the figure affirmed, "but remember, the greatest guide lies not in me, but in your unity and connection. This path requires trust, for your journey will not always be smooth. Yet it is in the bumps, in the unforeseen trials, that you'll find strength you didn't know you had." Lily's eyes sparkled with determination. "Then let us remember that together, we are strong. We will not shy away from the unknown, but embrace it with full hearts." As the light deepened, Samuel felt a warmth envelop him, washing over every doubt he harbored. He understood their journey was not solely for themselves. It was a call to lift others. "How do we begin?" Samuel asked. "By taking the first step forward," the messenger said, the aura illuminating the clearing more still. "You must each take that step, sharing your light with those lost in the shadows." Before he could process the enormity of that statement, the figure vanished, leaving glimmers of warmth in its wake. The villagers stood, hearts racing, minds buzzing with the possibilities the night held. Samuel felt alive with potential, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. What adventures awaited them in the shadowy unknown? How would their collective faith lead them to change not just their own stories, but the stories of others? Each heart beat with a fervent hope, ready to explore the path ahead. The air hung still, carrying a weight of anticipation as Samuel, along with the villagers, embraced the unknown. Each heart echoed the whisper of adventure, sensing the call to share their light with the world. "Let us form a circle," Lily suggested, her voice rising above the quiet. "We must connect our spirits, united in purpose." With careful steps, they formed a ring, hands clasped firmly. Samuel could feel the heat of his friends' bodies, the warmth mixing with the steady thrum of shared breath. Together, they breathed in the night, exhaling what doubt remained. Martha's voice broke the silence. "What if we falter?" "Even faltering can be a step towards growth," John replied, glancing earnestly at her. "Every misstep is a lesson. We must trust the light within us," just as the messenger said. Samuel closed his eyes, letting the breath of the village flow through him. In that moment, he envisioned their potential, a tapestry woven from the threads of their hopes and fears. Would they dare to step beyond their comfort? As the thoughts surged within, A wave of energy pulsed through the circle. He opened his eyes to see shimmering lights erupting from their clasped hands, bright like stars against the backdrop of the night. "Behold!" Lily exclaimed, her voice laced with wonder. "It's happening." The village felt alive. Colors danced before their eyes, shimmering with a vibrancy that ignited their spirits. Samuel smiled at the beauty unfolding before him, each pulse of light fueled by their united faith. Maybe changing the world began here, in this moment of shared devotion. In the center of their circle stood a small, ancient tree, its twisted limbs grasping towards the sky, roots deep in the earth. "Let us share what brings us hope," Samuel suggested, his spirit lifting as he spoke. Share a vision, a dream directed by the light. Each villager took turns opening their hearts. "I dream of education for every child," Martha declared. "Knowledge is light. I long to heal the sick among us," John said, determination in his voice, "to share a divine touch that restores." As they shared, Samuel felt a deepening connection, as if each word struck a chord that reverberated through the ground beneath them, shaking the very foundations of their fears. It became evident. This was the essence of their journey, a collective power to shine light in places overshadowed by despair. Samuel turned to Lily. "What is your dream?" Her smile spread, filled with grace. "I wish for every soul to be reminded of their worth. In love and kindness we're renewed." With each dream spoken, the ground trembled gently, alive with encouragement. Samuel witnessed a cascade of light unfurling visions that sparkled with hope. It was as if the ancient tree implored them to dig deeper, to root their dreams in faith. In that sacred space, they realized their gifts were woven together, an intricate pattern only they could create. Samuel's heart soared. They had illuminated a path not only for themselves but for all who yearned for hope. However, the lingering question whispered in the back of his mind. How would these dreams take root beyond this night? And what would it cost them to truly share their light with the world? As they stood united, that question hung heavily in the sacred air, a divine mystery yet to be uncovered. With the echoes of their dreams still vibrating in the atmosphere, Samuel felt the weight of the next step ahead. Where would the calling lead them? What challenges would they face as they strived to embody their newfound purpose? As the stars twinkled above, the village held its breath in anticipation, ready to journey forth. At first light, the ancient chapel glimmered with renewed energy, the air thick with expectation. The villagers gathered once more, the flickering promise of hope illuminating their hearts. Samuel stood at the threshold, a young warrior armed with faith. "Today," he announced, "we embark on the journey we dreamed of last night. Let it be our first step towards the world beyond." Lily added, her voice steady as she looked into the eyes of each villager. They nodded in unison, every heartbeat a testament to their collective resolve. A soft wind blew through the chapel, and Samuel felt the divine whisper in its embrace. "Take your light into the world. Let it shine bright." With that call ringing in his heart, he led the way out, crossing the threshold into new beginnings. As they moved from the sacred space of the chapel, the familiar streets of Winton transformed beneath their feet. They walked hand in hand, the light of their unity shining vibrantly like a beacon in the early morning sun. The village itself appeared alive, mingling with their joy, the sun stretching across every nook, illuminating the hidden corners where shadows once dwelt. With each step, Samuel felt an unyielding strength grow within. An old woman they encountered on the street sat hunched over, surrounded by shadows of despair. Without hesitation, Samuel knelt beside her, absorbing her story and speaking warmth into her heart. "You are cherished. Let our light guide you into hope," he said, as Martha and John joined him, their hands on the woman's shoulders. And just like that, the first ripple of light spread across the village. The old woman looked up, her eyes filling with tears, a grateful smile breaking the shackles of her sorrow. Samuel watched, heart swelling around him. One act at a time he breathed, feeling their collective spirit ignite. Encouraged, the group set out to heal deeper wounds. They visited the school, spending time sharing knowledge and wisdom with the children whose eyes sparkled with curiosity. The laughter they ignited grew louder and brighter, echoing through the empty halls like sweet symphonies. Soon, word of their mission spread like wildfire. The village transformed with each whispered story. Neighbors began supporting each other's dreams, piecing together a beautiful tapestry of love and camaraderie. They learned to lean on one another, creating a vibrant community knitted by shared hopes. But uncertainty lingered. Yet, even in their joy, Samuel was still faced with the questions that had once troubled him. How do we maintain this light? He pondered, seeking answers among his companions as they gathered in the chapel one evening. Through dedication, said Lily. Through open hearts and humble spirits. The villagers nodded, and in that moment, they were united by their relentless pursuit of love, a love that demanded vulnerability, patience, and grace. They formed a pact, vowing to nurture their mission together, no matter the shadows that crept in. Days turned into weeks, and summer painted Winton in dazzling hues. New projects bloomed, community gardens flourished, health initiatives spread to the sick, and love blossomed where it was once barren. Each act, a testament to their faith in divine guidance and the power of unity. Samuel's heart sang as the village radiated warmth, a symbol of their journey woven by faith. Yet change doesn't come without trials. One turbulent night, dark clouds descended, and a storm bruised their village. Trees bent to the wind's agonizing howl, and it felt as if despair sought to swallow the light they had forged. Together, the villagers retreated into the chapel, gathering with courage as they had done before. Samuel felt the weight of doubt creeping back, threatening to snuff out their newfound flame. But Lily stood tall amidst the turbulence, gathering their faith like a sacred shield. Remember our pact. Even in the storms, love remains, she cried, her words igniting the flickering candles around them. Gripping hands, they began to sing a melody of defiance against despair, each note rising in unity toward the heavens. We will not falter. Our light shall shine. As daylight broke, the storm began to recede. Through their worship, hope had persisted, and the sun spilled forth a promise that they had weathered the darkness together. The once storm-ravaged village stood resilient, each corner glistening with the testament of love's power. Samuel awoke in gratitude, realizing their journey had transformed them all, kindling a deeper fire of devotion within each heart. As the sun kissed their cheeks, villagers stood together, different yet bound by love. What had begun as a desperate plea in an ancient chapel had blossomed into an enduring community, ever open to where their faith led them next. Samuel smiled, aware now that their journey would ever continue, eternally woven with purpose, each step a reminder of the light they had chosen to nurture. This was not just a moment achieved. It was a life lived in the divine essence of faith and love. And remember, my friends, the journey beyond the horizon now unfolds before you. You need to subscribe immediately to continue witnessing these exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this light far and wide. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about this incredible journey, and share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second to show your support. Only true servants of God understand the importance of taking these actions.